2-minute timer. 2-hour timer. Bing, bing. Plenty of time, I believe, for this orange-black mirror, if you ask me.
Yeah, I would imagine that it's not going to take up the full time limit unless we have some incredibly intricate Perceptor decisions.
I agree. So it looks like Christian is going to go first.
So I think we can anticipate the usual start with this.
Flip your bull, send your plane.
That seems pretty standard at this point, stock standard. I see, is that a double orange there? That's an even the score?
Even score, yeah. So looks like he gets to 6, 8, Piers 4, Piers 3.
He's getting in on Perceptor, which seems to be the obvious target of choice here.
Yeah, I think in these non-Sky Shadow games, it's definitely the way you want to go. And just to point out, guys, the first 2 games here, there will not be any sideboards until game 3, just so you guys know.
Yep.
Oh, look at that real Perceptor. Guess who got that in the mail?
Ah, my man's fancy.
So
I have to say, it does look good.
He got an early enhanced power cell there. That's actually a pretty strong card there.
Yes, it is pretty important.
It's almost one of those, like, it's like he just knows that, like, in these early turns, he's just going to erase a Horribull turn, you know? Because, like, that Horrible's going to try and deal 3-4 damage to that Perceptor, and it's like, all right, well, this is just going to erase that turn. It's going to, like, kind of be like a feels bad in the early game.
Yeah, it could definitely put you off as the Horribull player, but at the same time, it was going to happen at some point if he had it. So
right.
I guess you just roll with it at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a fairly safe play on turn 1 for him.
Especially since he's not going to get the Fangry buff going into this. I mean, you could try and off this guy, as we've talked about in other forms, about trying to force the combination early.
Right.
Straight die rolling across the board.
That's a mag race. It'll be 1 everything and then 2 the Perceptor, and then we'll see where he puts the Horrible damage.
I think Chuck's just waiting for confirmation of where everything's going.
Yeah.
Now, coming into this, do you feel that Chuck is at a disadvantage because of the Fangry, obviously being the one of the unique separators between these 2 builds?
So for me, I actually think it's fine if he can set it up to where the Fangry gets to attack the big guy. But, you know, when he's on the play, it might also be okay. If he were to say if he were to win the die roll or even in game 2, if he takes the Fangry and he runs into the Horribull, so he gets that extra bolt and he just gets to put some early damage on, I think it's okay. But if on the draw, I don't think I would have swung with him first. I might have just trying to go with the plane and then see what I could have did, and then maybe trying to set up a KO on the piece and then run the Fangry in to try and, you know, get him that way. But you know, it's a tough call. He's definitely at a disadvantage because it's 6 versus 5, so he needs to basically find a way to make it even.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you that sending out the Fangry was an interesting choice. I think it would have been worth at least trying to get the punch. I think both of those characters are of similar value on that first attack. The Sky Shadow piece, that is.
Yeah, I mean, it's a matter of how much Christian is going to value the Fangry as well, because he might actually leave the Fangry around for a little bit, you know?
Sorry, not to interrupt you, but we have our first showing off.
There's that showing off.
Seems important.
Scott, if you got my text, please help me out. Thank you. Not too bad there. I didn't actually... I was like halfway coming back when he was flipping up. I didn't see what he picked up.
Yeah, I didn't quite catch it either, but it looks like... Can you see how many... It looks like 4 cards are under Perceptor right now? Because obviously we had the initial and then the showing off.
Yeah, there's number 4. Thank you, Mr. Landis.
Got a little hype train going in the chat.
He's in the tank on this one already. Here we are.
Yeah, this is... Now, he only has his upgrade play left, but he's probably trying to sequence out, can he afford to kill one of these pieces, force the combination, and where is that going to leave him?
we have there?
It looks like a Scoundrel's Blaster to me.
So, I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, if this is like the damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario here. Like, if he doesn't KO the plane, he probably gets blown away by a Piece of Tyranny, right? So, in my opinion, it's like, if he doesn't have the right cards in hand to ever set it up, I don't know that it's right to just, like, leave it around.
The potential Piece of Tyranny play, you mean?
I mean, like, he puts him to 8, so, like, this is interesting. Like, so, like, this is the setup here where, like, let's say he has a Javelin in his hand, and he's able to get the Javelin on, then he's going to be able to do what we said he has to do, and he's going to be able to KO that Sky Shadow out of combat. Well, yeah, I mean, like, in combat / out of combat, because he'll be able to throw the Javelin and then swing Perceptor into the big guy.
Right.
So, like, that's probably the play that he has to get to now to, like, try and even those odds.
But you feel that you would have played it safer to just completely avoid the PTT play, not do the poker thing, try and read your opponent through webcam?
I mean, it's really tough for what it's worth. I mean, it's hard to say that there's a right answer in that, you know? It's just, to me, you have to value both. And, like, you know, like I said, if he knows how much damage he's expecting to get, and if he thinks he's going to leave the tank on 8 or 9 health, well then, hey, here's those. There it goes. Never mind anything I'm about to say, gentlemen.
Yep.
Because there's the Piece of Tyranny.
We're about to find out how PTT works.
Thanks, Christian. Thank you so much. So here it is. He gets the combine. He gets to shoot Perceptor. Pew pew. And he's gonna get to mollywop something.
Yeah. A very impressive Sky Shadow there, I have to say.
It's a pretty cool drawing. I dig it. He put some time into it.
Yeah, it definitely shows. So, like you said, he's definitely going to Bolt Perceptor, kind of invalidate that power cell. Yep. So he's flinging one at Perceptor.
Yeah.
Presumably he's going to fling at Perceptor. Does that get him?
No, he should have 12, 15, 18 health, so he should be okay. It's scary, I will say that much.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't be excited to be on the receiving end of that.
Yeah, he's definitely in the danger zone. Whatever he attacked is... Actually, there's not a lot of oranges in that, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a huge amount of orange.
That looks like 8 Pierce a million to me.
Now, it's interesting that he chose to pop off the head here. I mean, obviously, you can just Horribull it next turn.
Right. I mean, he's probably just going to flip a Horribull, KO the head, and then attack the plane, and then we're going to have a pretty damaged Perceptor to try and deal with this.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough spot here.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, the PTT is just... It's pretty good. Because, I mean, look, he gets to draw 2 cards.
With the pocket processor, yeah, he has a million cards. He has to have a Black Pip.
He most certainly does. I mean, because let's see, if that Perceptor's already on 15, if he has a Cambion Crash, like the game might just be over. Let's see. He's got plenty of them. Oh, I mean,
that's magnetic. Okay, that'll
KO's Parsect, and it deals 2 damage to the Perceptor and potentially a 3rd damage. Ouch.
Yeah, that's just no bueno.
Yep, and there goes the Perceptor. Yeah, I'm gonna safely say that that's gonna be the game.
Yeah, it's 4-on-2, and there's a lot bigger guys on our Horribull player side.
Yeah, it's hard to be confident Briscoe even gets there. For good measure, we have the grenade launcher as well.
Well, you don't want to take any chances. I mean, to be fair, he has seen some blues out of Chuck's deck, so I guess, you know.
Yeah. It looks like he didn't get there, so I'm still not worried for him. Oh, maybe he did. No, okay. I think Chuck.
I think he's collecting things, not.
That's very fair.
Yeah. So game 1 of the books. With the PTT, it seemed and felt relatively rote. I mean,
the PTT with the pocket processor and just the sheer amount of damage he was able to put on the Perceptor. I mean, he literally did 18 damage out of combat to Perceptor. Like, that's amazing.
That's an absurd amount of damage targeting anything.
Yeah, it's That's pretty good.
So how would you change it up as Chuck here? I mean, obviously, pray your opponent doesn't hit the PTT, but do you think that it was the Fangry play that really set him down that path? Do you think that there's something else that he should be trying to go for here?
I mean, the way that game out came, it looked like if you take the PTT away, then it's obviously a different outcome. So like there's that, but to me, it's also tough because even like looking at this right now, I don't even know if the Fangry attacking the Horribull is even good enough right now. So like, I still think that maybe you just run the plane into his plane, and then just
Fangry
force
lives.
it. Like, okay, well, here's your plane on plane action, and I'm gonna make you have the decision of like what you're gonna do. That's the way I think you have to play it here, because I just don't think the Fangry going into Horribull does anything.
Yeah, I'm tending to agree with you based on what we've seen so far. But it looks like he is going with it.
And he just went with the regular bold, so it looks like he probably attacked the plane. Yeah, or did he attack the tank? No, that's the plane. Okay.
So interesting choice, but
right. So he deals 4, and like that's not bad, right? But it's a matter of now of like what is like. I don't think that plane is in fear of dying from Chuck's deck. So
given between the Horribull and obviously the plethora of direct damage, I'm going to make an assumption here that Chuck is feeling that, I can extend Fangry out there and I'll just get the head later on. However, like I said, given all the burn options, it feels like it's going to come back to bite him.
Yeah, I mean, I think the PTT literally took away 2 attacks from Chuck. I mean, that was just really good.
Yeah. All right, so we got the
7 Pierce 1. I mean, respectable amount of damage, but
yeah, it's an acceptable attack, I guess.
This is the you better have it Perceptor flip here to steal this plane attack to me. That's a wedge formation, Noble's Blaster, end hostilities, and bashing shield. So like none of that screams
no
KO my tank, so that's good news. But I mean, end hostilities is like the easy, like I probably need this card later on in the game, so I think that's where I would probably be. But he's gonna take the weapon, which is fine. I think end hostilities just represents a potential to basically attempt to steal an attack back type thing, because like if that plane just gets suited up and just attacks whatever it wants next turn, the end hostilities actually has the ability to just be like, okay, you're just going to deal 4 to me.
Yeah, it's your best chance to try and break serve.
Right.
And without that opportunity, you have to hope that your momentum from going first is going to carry you.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
He definitely needed a better Perceptor flip here, like, potentially a grenade launcher or even maybe a javelin of his own, to try and like make the effort here, but I don't think that those particular cards he just picked up help him enough.
Yeah, he's only going to get this upgrade. Is that a PTT? That is a PTT.
Okay. I mean, that Fangry's never going to untap, so that's interesting. The only problem I have here is that if he doesn't KO the tank, what is that? Is that a...
That looks like a mounted missiles.
All right, so that's 6 plus the bold. I mean, I guess it's gonna really depend on what he ends up with here, but this is the type of play that you might have to make for what it's worth.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to roll the dice figuratively.
That's not. That seems like a pretty okay number. Should be at like 9 or 10, I'd say. So, yeah,
but here's the problem. So you PTT. Oh god.
Right. So he puts him to 8 here. Right. So this is the same scenario now where like his Perceptor might have to be live for the attack next turn, and he's like, this is the same situation where like he needs a javelin.
Right.
Now, for what it's worth, the Parsec can also throw the javelin, but I think the Parsec would need more help to KO the Sky Shadow piece. And if he did get that tricky on the combine for Sky Shadow, Christian could just bolt his Parsec.
Yes, there is the potential for that. I think because it was a Noble's Blaster earlier off the. No, he put the Noble's Blaster under the Perceptor, correct?
No, he took that. He put the end hostilities under. He put end hostilities and bashing shield under.
And bashing shield. Okay, that was the upgrade. My brain for a second lost it. So I think he's. Okay, so he's playing Wedge. I was about to say I thought he was going to put the blaster onto Parsec to try and pierce through the tank, on the assumption that he didn't want to invest any other cards, but he could also be holding on to the blaster otherwise.
Right.
It looks like that is the route he's taking. As someone who's played a lot of bad PTTs, not saying this one was bad, but it's 2 attacks into
It just,
the 1.
in some ways, it feels desperate, and
Yes, exactly. That's the right moniker.
and that's kind of like, I mean, that could just be where he feels like he's in the matchup, as starting as this 5.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, the PTT, the first Perceptor flip just didn't do him any help.
I mean, I guess there will be some bad Perceptor flips. It's going to happen.
Oh, of course.
Everybody out there, like, Perceptor doesn't always flip gold.
Yeah, of course.
That being said,
it was just, to me,
there were other lines that,
right,
like, that was the nail in the coffin, I guess, if we're going to, I don't want to go that far and say that's all she wrote, but, like, I don't know if that was the deciding, well, I guess it was the deciding factor, but it was just another step along that path kind of thing.
Well, I think as for Chuck is that, he obviously knew what he was looking for on the Perceptor flip. So for me, he had to, at that point, go, all right, I didn't get what I wanted. Now what's plan B? And, like, plan B might have been the end hostilities play, and that's kind of where I would have went with it. But, and so he did.
I think he might have
this
had
is
that
actually
PTT plan in his mind from the beginning.
I don't know if I like that play from Christian. He decides to bolt the Parsec there.
That does not seem as valuable as bolting Perceptor.
I agree.
That being said, it does clear.
Oh, maybe, I'm sorry. Maybe he didn't. I think he did the 1 damage off Viper position. That's what it was.
Trying to see how much damage is on Perceptor. That makes sense. Yeah.
I believe it's like 7.
And that seems to be a dead Sky Shadow piece.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, so like that's kind of what I'm saying. Like if he ends up taking the end hostilities and Bastion Shield instead, he just has to know that like he's gonna steal, like, quote unquote steal an attack back in like a defensive way, or he's gonna at least force the Horribull to take some damage away from Perceptor and deal it to someone else, and like even that is valuable. But I think the aggressive way without having the the backup answers, it proved itself to not be good enough.
While I hear what you're saying, at the same time, I could see the argument for not doing it simply because the pieces and characters that were exposed, if they get hit by a Sky Shadow, combined Sky Shadow, and he has any upgrade, they're dead.
Right.
Like, you don't even really need flips. So I could see the argument of going, it might break serve on the Perceptor, like the Horribull Perceptor turn, maybe if a bold card is played or something. I can see why he wouldn't want it.
No flip here is interesting, and I'm sure he wants the extra defense, which is somewhat fine. But to me, I would rather value the cards on the next turn a lot more, because like he did get to play a secret, which is helpful. But he already knows he's going to take at least 4 from Ominous, and like there's chances are that's not whatever the secret action is, and it's going to help him enough. Unless it's the hold line, but even then it's still 3, and then the Horribull just needs a couple weapons, and So for me, it's he's he wasted 2 turns in a row there not flipping his Perceptor, and that he's definitely putting himself even further behind now.
Yeah, if you're not playing to the strengths of the card that's going to be digging you to your answers, it's just more hurdles to have to overcome when you're down bodies as it is.
Right.
The question is, how many cards does our Horribull player have, and how painful can they make this turn?
I didn't have processor this time, so that's that.
There's not as much gas, but
yeah, that's pretty good.
Well, a Camion Crash is a pretty good card, I've heard.
It's a good start for sure.
I've heard some things.
I mean, I know you can feel comfortable here, but I think I would Camion Crash and I would put the 1 damage on my Ominous here.
I mean, he's as soon as somebody looks at him funny, he's gonna die. So.
Right. So like, I might as well I think I would just be like, you take it.
Yeah, because he has 4 health, correct?
Right. And even here, I think I would have gave myself Pierce 4 for guaranteed with the Ominous, but I guess if he flips the oranges, he's gonna be fine. But so you're looking at what, 6, 7 Pierce 3.
Is he 4 in that mode? I thought he was only 3.
He's 4 in that mode.
He's 4. All right.
He's bigger attack in that mode, bigger defense in alt mode.
All right. So here's our secret action. It is hold the line.
Yeah, he holds him to 3. What was that about?
It looks like he's recognized where this is going.
Oh, okay. I was like, what just happened? I was like, what did I miss? All right, fair enough. I'm gonna just check in with them real quick. So,
I anticipate Chuck's going into the Sky Shadow plan.
Yeah, I think it's his only shot here. To me, it's he needs to make up for the attack for 1, and then for 2, he just needs help like overall. And the Fangry just doesn't do anything. The Parsec doesn't do anything. At least it didn't feel through 2 games that it did enough by any means.
Right.
So that would be my downfall. But I'm going to take a gander at his list real quick and see what else maybe he can do to help himself. So he looks like he has 2 armed hovercrafts, a Belligerence, a Crushing Size, a Decipher, a Disarm, and a Mining Pick, and then a Bigger They Are. To be honest, there's not a lot of help there for the mirror match. I mean, I guess you can board in armed hovercrafts as like a as a strafing run type scenario, and like a couple more blues in your deck. Like I think that might be okay, but other than that, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure any of those cards really help that much.
What do you think he should actually be looking for if we're not looking for battle cards that can help him out strategically? How is he sequencing this in the Sky Shadow mirror?
So he definitely needs to choose to go first, and he needs to run his plane into plane again and force that back attack. Because like he didn't swing for too much the first time around. He only got like 4 damage on or something like that. Right. He needs to hope for a little bit more out of that first initial Sky Shadow attack, to be honest. And that's likely his best option. And it just gives him more time to flip Perceptor. And I think, he did spend 2 turns not flipping Perceptor in that last game. And it definitely matters enough. Like I said, the 1 defense is whatever, but not when you're facing down an orange-black bold, like an orange-black Pierce deck. So like, unless you have stable covers around, which he doesn't have any in his list, then he has 1 in the list. Sorry, then he's not going to be able to survive that round anyway. So if he had flipped twice, he would at least give himself more options to see what he could have done.
Yes. Now, for our Horribull player, do you see any significant advantages coming out of the board, or are you expecting that it's just try and maintain the status quo?
He has. So he could bring in the boulder and the bolster and the force fields. I imagine that's probably what he did do, to be honest.
It would seem appropriate given what we were talking about earlier with end hostilities. You try and break serve.
Right. So like he can easily take out the hold line, and like because that card's it's definitely not as good against this matchup now. And then he can make room for it in other ways if he wants to. Like the counter espionage is still good, so he's gonna probably bring in that second copy of counter espionage. And then maybe he brings in a reboot. I don't know. If he feels that he needs the extra card advantage to keep up with Perceptor, maybe that's what he does. So he has some options.
given game one and the pressure he was putting on, and the way Chuck had reacted with the Perceptor flips, I don't know that he's going to be all too enthused about trying to board into system reboot. But you're right, it is a potential option. All right, so it looks like Chuck did elect to go first, and he's, I guess, following the game plan here. So armed hovercrafts did come in.
Yeah, that makes sense. I said he gets a couple more blues in his deck and gets the spread damage. So he did one better that time, which is fine. That's not bad at all.
Right. You can't really expect much better.
No, I mean, Chuck, at the end of the day, Chuck is somewhat of a mixed pip deck, so you have to expect you're going to flip some blues here and there.
We're leading off with
that's a
processor. All right, so I guess he's going to keep pace with that Perceptor.
That is some gas early. So that's 5, Pierce 2.
Hiding spot, interesting.
Yeah, he has those in the main deck, actually.
I definitely had missed those through the first couple games.
So it looked like he picked up a counter espionage there.
Seems logical.
I mean, in some ways, just naming Peace to Tyranny might be a good play.
I mean, there is an argument to that.
So he gets his own piece here. So he has Hovercraft, Precision Fire, Peace to Tyranny, and that's a Noble's Blaster with a glare on it.
Gotcha.
This is actually a pretty tough decision probably for Christian here, because I mean the Precision Fire is, like, yeah, it does 1 to everything right now except for Horribull, but I don't know if he wants to just keep letting him take damage on his plane. Same thing with Hovercraft. Honestly, to me, I think you'd have to split the spread damage here. So, like, the Hovercraft can't be with Precision Fire, obviously. That's just too much.
Yeah, that turn of... Because Chuck's going to be in control of pushing that damage, it's going to give him a lot more leverage and ensure that something really mean happens to the other guy.
Yeah, I mean, like, this might be as simple as, like, actions and upgrades, to be honest. It's possible. It looks like he went 4-0, which is... That's not a bad decision either.
Interesting.
But he definitely just gave Chuck some serious gas.
Yeah, 4 cards is pretty good. I've heard 4-card treasure hunts are good. When you just get 4 cards, that seems equally good. It's
not even that. Like I said, just he can just play Hovercraft Precision Fire here and just deal a ton of damage. And even if he wants to, he can actually he could hold back the Precision Fire potentially as well until his Perceptor is back in body mode.
Is he debating the PTT?
I hope that's not the route here.
I was about to say that, but
I'm not a fan of that route at all, actually.
Given how many cards he has in his hand, he's probably just mapping out several turns. But
it's not. I don't know. I guess it's not. Maybe he's naming Peace to Tyranny. Is that
counter espionage or is that hovercraft?
Yeah, that was a hovercraft. Yeah. Okay, so I'll be curious what he named there. I would guess he names Peace to Tyranny there. So the bad news is he still has a pocket processor to draw it.
Yes, but he still only got 2 draws to do it, and you got to take that chance, I think, at this stage.
Yeah, that's fair. So he shoots the javelin at the plane actually, and then just goes in, and he gets. Looks like he got 7 there on his attack, so the tank should take about 3. Oh wow, it was more than that. I missed some of that. Okay, fair enough. Easier for them, right?
All right, moment of truth, folks.
Yeah, how good's pocket processor?
So do you still feel that, I mean, not that he had a whole lot of options, but was it a wasted play to try and fish for that PTT there, or do you just lean into, all right, well, I hope he doesn't have it?
No, I think the way the damage race is right now, I think you're fine. Like, I don't think he was behind.
Playing it, you mean.
Right, so, like, I don't think he's behind right now. And I'm not saying that like it doesn't further put him ahead, but it's tough to say that it would. To where the way the setup is now, there's a very good chance that he could potentially KO one of these characters out of combat. And if if he can succeed in that plan, and then the Perceptor can potentially, get rid of the bigger Sky Shadow, then that's definitely going to be a stronger play.
Right. So we got a +4 health on our Horribull.
Yeah.
Who's slinging damage left and right.
Well, this is interesting because we know he has the fight for positions here, and I guess he's going to play. Okay, so he ripped a secret action at some point off his pocket processor. And, just the run by, he has an even to score, which, that wouldn't be too bad. It's definitely not hiding spot because that's already down. He only has a 1 of. And he could be the bolster, to be honest. Which I guess that would be pretty strong, to be completely honest.
It would ensure the survivability of the tank.
Well, no, it actually can ensure the survivability of his Sky Shadow if combined.
Yes,
so
also true.
There's that.
All right, so we have Sky Shadow showing up on Chuck's side.
Yep.
As to be expected, I guess.
And with a very healthy 10 health.
Yeah, that can't really ask for much more than that.
A shame there is no lightning bolts to be had for Chuck.
That faint sizzling sound is the fizzle of the bolt. Or it could be my dryer. I don't know. That would be bad.
One or the other, right? So that's a Kamian crash. And we know he has the hovercraft. So this is how you do it. This is how he's going to be able to KO. Now it's going to be about, is that a bolster or not? Because he has this hovercraft that he's going to get to play. And he's definitely going to KO out of combat here. And he's going to, actually, you know what? The force field doesn't save him anymore because the extra damage he takes from the hovercraft. So he'll actually go to 16. So that actually isn't going to save him. So this is how Chuck has to come back for sure. He's going to be able to steal this attack here.
I mean, this is the, I guess, textbook game plan to try and get this done.
I mean, yeah.
And we're getting in there. Let's see. He does not activate the secret action.
Yeah. I'm curious what that is.
I think that's the bolster that just got flipped.
Interesting. I wonder what that secret action is then. Oh, did we forget about it?
Find out.
Oh, even.
It was an even score.
Okay, so it depends on how much the overkill was here. Looks healthy enough. So it puts him at 15, I believe. So it wasn't too much overkill, so that was good.
Right. Yeah, he's not. It's unlikely, at least, that he's just gonna die out of combat. But there is the potential, given how much gas is being fed by that pocket processor.
Right.
So here's where the tables have turned. It seems everything's going in Chuck's favor. Do you see outs, or how do you see Senor Horribull getting out of this hole?
I mean, he has a pocket processor. He's drawing plenty of cards. Honestly, this Ominous has a good shot at KOing the Sky Shadow if he needs to. There's also potential, depending on what is in Christian's hand, that he might be able to KO it out of combat. So
Dysfunction Ray is a good start.
Yeah, so that puts him to 16. We could Horribull him to 17. All right, so it doesn't look like he has that option, but what it did is put him to 16. So now this Ominous will be able to most likely guarantee.
Yep.
Yeah. So there
it is.
So that's a guarantee there. So basically, he's just trading his Ominous for Ominous at this point, and we're gonna end up in a game where it's just Perceptor versus Horribull, and we'll just have to see how that plays out. I mean, the Horribull has a ton of health right now, and there's no cards under Perceptor. So it's going to really depend now on these next couple of turns.
Right.
And the big deal there was also that he was able to KO the Sky Shadow because Chuck still has a Piece of Tyranny in his hand. So if, for somehow he would have whiffed or he would have missed, the Piece of Tyranny actually would have been pretty strong. So showing off, Imp Shield, and Hold the Line.
Hold the Line.
Really, the best card there is, without a doubt, the Showing Off. But even Kamian Crash is pretty strong because it actually can just KO the Ominous out of combat, and then he can just get a free 3 or 4 damage onto Horribull. So that's definitely something that has to be looked at.
Well, the Ominous only has 1 on him at the moment, correct?
Right, but the K-Main Crash just deals 2. It only has 2 health, right? Or it has 3 health, correct?
I am double checking because I could have sworn he had 4. No, he does only have 3.
Yeah.
For some reason in my head,
Listen,
I'll be honest, I keep mixing up a lot of the numbers on the new set. Part of it's just the fact we don't have the cards in front of us, so.
I've seen a lot of Ominous.
Fair.
Definitely in the tank.
I mean, this is not quite for all the marbles, but it is definitely one of the more significant rounds he's on, or
I mean,
rather, a Horribull player's on match point. So
yeah, he has to pull this game out. So he took the showing off.
I mean, definitely seems appropriate. That looks like launcher, PTT, improvised shield, fight for position.
Yes. I don't know. I missed the piles there. I do wonder if I think you almost have to take the K-Main Crash, in my opinion. So that's tough.
There's no way that K-Main Crash and showing off were in the same pile.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. I think we may have valued the showing off a little bit too much. But I don't know.
To be fair, I can see the allure of unlimited power.
Right. I mean, don't get me wrong. The thing is that he does have to suit up the Perceptor for the end game. But this attack, he is just going to get the trade off, and that's great. But then if the Horribull decides to and just gets, any 2 black cards and then KOs this Ominous out of combat, then he's going to get to swing at the Perceptor, and that's something you don't really want to do without getting extra damage on him. The Power Cell is helpful, right. I guess.
I was about to say, maybe the Power Cell shaped his opinion.
Yeah, but for me, the ability to just get a free 4 damage on the Horribull, I think you need to just take that route at this point. Because now the Horribull can he's probably going to end up being at around 2 or 3, maybe 4 damage on, depending how many cards he plays this turn.
Yeah.
And like I said, all he needs is 2 black cards and a flip, and he just KOs the Ominous. So he just kind of removes it. And that's saying he doesn't have any, offensive black cards.
Yeah, there's a lot of nasty things out there that could flip this.
Correct.
Now the question is, does he have them?
I mean,
he should, given the number of cards he's seen at this stage.
He's got to be. It's around 7 or 8 cards, I think. And Pocket Pressers is drawing 2 cards every turn since turn 1. So
it looks like a
Fusion Boar.
Fusion Boar.
So this will telegraph here if he has it or not.
K-Main Crash.
So if you ask me, he has it. Because there's the 1 damage to Ominous, which means he most likely has another black action to play.
Otherwise, it's pointless, yeah.
Right. And even just the Fusion Boar attack on Perceptor is going to be good enough. It's not going to KO him, but it's going to do enough damage. I mean, that helps. So,
oh boy.
And this is even better because now he can just flip. He could just flip, move the damage to Ominous, and then he can do the extra damage, or either way, he can do the extra damage to Ominous and then flip the move to Perceptor. Either option's fine. But this is what I'm saying. So he gets the flip here. He's at 5 health. 5 damage on, and then he gets to take a nice little chunk out of this Perceptor that already has 8 or 9 damage on it.
Right.
So that's 3, 6, 7, Pierce 4. Yeah, so he's in at least 13, I'd say.
We'll say he's not in a good spot.
Because he has 5 health remaining. And I don't know, it's tough to say. Depending on what his hand is, he could potentially KO the Horribull, but it's unlikely.
I think he kind of has to.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
If he doesn't, then I don't know that he's going to be able to dig out of that hole.
You would definitely need, grenade launcher, fight position type play to try and pull this off, I think. So
that is a bashing shield.
So that's 4 damage when you look at it.
Yes.
So that's not bad.
It's a good start.
It's definitely not bad.
But do you have an action to actually push this over the top? Because I think it's 4 cards under Perceptor at the moment.
So okay, alt modes. I mean, he gets a ping. Puts him to 6, and then yeah, he's at 7 base attack, and that's it. Just 7. Misses no oranges. Ouch.
Oh no.
7 minus 2 is 5, and he's gonna live. He needed to hit 2 oranges there to have a shot.
Absolutely, but
Actually, he needed more than that, to be honest. If he's only on 11.
yeah, and as you mentioned earlier, while the deck clearly leans into orange, it's not truly what you'd call an orange deck. There's definitely a lot of off-color pips, non-pips, etc.
Yeah.
It was not a mathematical certainty to get there.
Oh no,
obviously.
not by any means. All right, so like I said, I think there's 13 damage on him, so he should have 5 health left. So I don't. It would take. I mean, it's possible that Horribull can do that out of combat without the flip. I don't know that it is. So it looks like he's definitely gonna get attacked, and it's gonna come down to some head-on-head action here.
I mean, that's where a lot of these games seem to end up at one point or another anyway.
These Sky Shadow mirrors seem to almost get to that point.
All right, well, I'm going to say that he's probably getting them here.
Yeah, so that's a ping into a ping. And he doesn't need to do anything else. Like, that's definitely good enough. Unless, he flipped like a massive amount of blues. That's not bad. It's 4, 9. Yeah. All right, so if he has a Kamian crash, the game will be very interesting.
I mean, Briscoe is sturdier than most Titan Masters, but he ain't that sturdy.
Right.
So, it definitely, you are correct, it will get interesting, but that looks
yeah.
like batons.
That's a grenade launcher.
Oh, it is a launcher? Okay.
Yeah, it's just good enough to just get there. He needed an action to get him out of combat. I don't think there's any way that Grax doesn't win this game.
Yeah.
Like, maybe if he had backup, if he had a secret action backup, I could buy into it.
At end hostilities.
Yeah, but right now, I mean, I don't even know that end hostilities is a guarantee, to be honest.
Oh, it's not. But
oh, there you go.
as a fusion war, yeah. I think he saw that one coming. Yeah.
All right. Well, that is it.
We have our first winner.
That's 3 games. Congratulations to Christian.
Yep.
He has moved on to the finals. All right.